Wait. Was the one player who could have prevented the Indiana Fever from suffering yet another humiliating defeat benched by Stephanie White? Because Fever Nation is currently in complete shock at what happened in Los Angeles. Additionally, if you support Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham as much as we do, please press the subscribe button before we get started on this complete coaching disaster. We're going to reveal the precise reasons why supporters are demanding significant changes in Indianapolis. Imagine this. Three-point shooting is urgently needed by the Fever. From outside the arc, they are being burned. Sophie Cunningham is getting frank looks because no one is providing her with food. In the meantime, Chloe Bibby, a sharpshooter, was benched for 41 minutes and 3 seconds during a 48-minute game. Yes, you heard correctly. A player has 2 minutes and 57 seconds to play. Only a few days ago, Stephanie White really phoned their missing piece. Make sense of it. But hold on, things get even stranger. Because Sophie Cunningham is out there avoiding flying projectiles while BB is gathering splinters on the bench. I'm not referring to basketballs, either. We are discussing the most bizarre trend to ever affect the WNBA. Like a bizarre halftime show that no one requested, green rubber projectiles are flying around venues. Stop throwing these things on the court, Sophie actually tweeted. You will cause harm to one of us. What comes next, then? She is actually struck by one in Los Angeles. Sometimes the cosmos has a sick sense of humor. Let's go back to the beginning of this whole affair. In late July, Chloe Bby signed a 7-day deal with the Indiana Fever. This signing wasn't your typical one. Their prayers were meant to be answered by this. A legitimate stretch for who could create space for Aaliyah Boston and Caitlin Clark by making three-pointers. From a great distance, Bby went completely crazy in her first 3 games. She hit several threes in each of her shots, making her the first Fever player to do it since Katie Douglas in 2008, the team's first 3 games. Stephanie White exclaimed, "That's not just good, that's historically good," as if she had discovered the basketball equivalent of the Holy Grail. Following Bibby's debut, White remarked, "She gives us a different look than any of our other post players. She is both a shooter and a stretch for Bibby. That hasn't happened to us." That's exactly what she said. So, tell me this riddle. Why is she riding the pine when the team is getting hammered from three-point range if she is such a game share? The statistics are unmistakable and quite harsh for Coach White. The Fever increased their percentage by 30% from 3 minutes before garbage time in their defeat to the Sparks. 30%. They were barely shooting above 30% from 3 until the end of the fourth, and it didn't occur to her that maybe Bby could have been a spark from deep. But here's the thing. This isn't just about one game, this is becoming a pattern with Stephanie White's coaching. One fan wrote, "We signed Chloe Bby just to take her out of the rotation. Sounds like the Fever." Another said, "Stephanie White would hear it right here. We need some reliable outside shooting to spread the floor. Let's just leave that stretch 4 on the bench." The comments kept coming, each one more savage than the last ballistic. Can you really hold them responsible? "We signed Chloe Baby just to take her out of the rotation," a fan wrote on social media. "It sounds like a Fever. Stephanie White would hear it right here," someone else remarked. "To expand the floor, we need some trustworthy outdoor photography. Let's just put that 4th stretch on the bench." The remarks continued to flow, getting harsher by the second. For that, Steph is a freak. From the 3rd to the conclusion of the 4th, they were just over 30% above the target. She also failed to consider the possibility that Bby might have been a profound spark. The kicker is this, though. This goes beyond a single game. With Stephanie White's instruction, this is starting to happen frequently. Choices. Do you recall Michaela Timpson? Possibly the team's most athletic player. She also only gets 4 minutes per game. 4 minutes. As the squad tries to establish an offensive rhythm, less productive players are receiving longer runs. It's similar to witnessing someone attempt to use gasoline to put out a fire when there is a perfectly effective fire extinguisher nearby. Nor could the time be worse. Before this catastrophe in Los Angeles, the Fever had won 5 straight games. At last, they were gaining steam, appearing to be a group capable of producing some noise. Then all of a sudden, Stephanie White chooses to make the rotations adorable. Suddenly everything breaks down. The Sparks scored 100 points. 100. When was the last time you witnessed a team with championship hopes sacrificing triple digits as if it were insignificant? Sophie Cunningham deserves so much better than this, so let's take a moment to discuss her. The woman arrived from Phoenix prepared to be the enforcer who put a stop to the Fever. She has fulfilled all of their requests and more. What transpires, though, when she's out there in the corner begging for the ball to be wide open? Instead, Aari McDonald chooses to collide with 3 defenders. It goes beyond poor basketball. To a player who has demonstrated that she can make those shots, it is disrespectful. Additionally, with relation to, can we discuss the flying green item in the room, or should I say the elephant in the room, without showing disrespect? In the last week, there have been 3 different instances of supporters hurling offensive objects onto the WNBA court. After warning that this could harm someone and then getting grazed by one herself, Sophie Cunningham practically became a prophet. The woman is unable to get a break. She has to contend with rogue projectiles and dubious coaching choices. No player's contract states that. The irony is nearly flawless. The only player who could assist Sophie is stuck to the bench while she is out there pleading for the ball and attempting to avoid flying items. Consider how the game might appear if Bibby had been given more than 20 minutes. All of a sudden, you have to respect another shooter. All of a sudden, there are other 3-point shooters on the court besides Sophie. The spacing suddenly becomes available, and it's possible that the Fever won't let a struggling Sparks team score 100 points against them this season. This is what about the entire scenario really irritates me. The Fever have all they require to be unique. It is generational. Caitlin Clark, Boston, Aaliyah, is a walking double-double. With anyone, Kelsey Mitchell can score. Every night, Sophie Cunningham brings that puppy mentality. Chloe Bibby, who may be the key that has been missing, is now in their possession. However, if the coach is unable to use her weapons, it makes no difference. With much hoopla, Stephanie White returned to Indiana promising to take this club to the next level. She discussed space and pace, modern basketball, and making the most of the team's talent. Unfortunately, it isn't modern basketball to sit your best 3-point shooter when your team is unable to purchase a bucket from deep. It is malpractice on the part of the coach. It is seen by the fans. It is seen on social media. Heck, these rotations seem off to even the most casual viewers. "We win in spite of her, not because of her," was one particularly noteworthy comment. That is damning. Criticism of a coach who is meant to be setting up her players for success. You have a major issue when your supporters publicly wonder if the team might perform better with a different leader in charge. Not to mention that this is the same coach who appears to harbor a strange grudge toward Michaela Timpson. Even the team's most athletic player struggles to gain regular playing time. Make sense of that. She seems to be coaching using a proprietary formula that only she knows. And it's not working. Spoiler alert. The absurd thing is that BBY instantly showed she belonged. In her debut, she scored 8 points in 11 minutes, and the following game, she scored 10. From the age of 3, she was essentially automatic. Furthermore, what does she get for her efforts? What does she receive for her work? A front row seat from the bench to watch the squad struggle. I wonder what else I have to do to get playing time if I'm Chloe BBY. In 2 minutes, score 30. Take half-court shots. Acquire the skill of juggling while shooting. The worst part, do you know? Time is being wasted by the Fever. This league is one where every game counts. Each defeat can mean the difference between having home court advantage and having to travel for the playoffs. Even when the answers are right on the bench, we are watching Stephanie White overthink her way into losing. The contrast with other league coaches is striking. Observe Sandy Brondello's activities in New York. Look at Minnesota's Cheryl Reeve. These coaches know how to help players reach their full potential and position themselves for success. When the team is unable to shoot, we witness a coach in Indiana bench her shooters. We're failing the class somehow, even though it's basketball coaching 101. I keep returning to that Sparks game because it captures everything that is wrong with the coaching scenario as it stands right now. The Fever had 9 players out. The game is tied after 3 3-pointers. Despite playing fewer than 3 minutes, you have a player on your bench who has literally been money from deep. That is coaching negligence, not just an error. The response on social media has been incredibly harsh, and with good reason. Supporters aren't dumb. They are able to spot inconsistencies. When you sign a player with the express purpose of strengthening a weakness, publicly laud her, watch her perform right away, and then bench her when you need exactly what she delivers. Your ability to make decisions will be seriously called into doubt by that. The fact that all the parts are present only adds to the frustration. The talent on this current squad is greater than it has been in years. They ought to be up against every team in the league. However, having a Ferrari with a driver who is incapable of shifting gears is analogous to having skill without adequate coaching. You won't get somewhere quickly. Sophie Cunningham, who is attempting to be everything for this squad, is a poor person. She is defending. When she has the opportunity, she shoots. Every night, she brings that energy. However, even she is powerless to change dubious coaching choices. What should you do when you're wide open and your teammates refuse to give the ball to you because the offensive system isn't working properly? The BBY scenario is merely the beginning. This team is being held back by a pattern of perplexing decisions. It concerns a coach who appears more focused on establishing her superiority than on winning basketball games. Newsflash: if you're losing games you should win, no one cares how intelligent you believe you are. This is what I think will happen. If Stephanie White is unable to resolve this soon, the strain will eventually become intolerable. This audience has shown patience. They have endured years of mediocrity. Even though they have a talented team now, they are witnessing night after night of poor management. You will quickly run out of patience. It hurts that the remedy is so easy. Use your best players. Place them in advantageous situations. Play your three-point shooters when you need to shoot 3 points. Play your athletes when you need them. Although this isn't particularly difficult, we're making it far more difficult than it has to be. In the end, the Indiana Fever have an issue with Stephanie White, and until they fix it, all of this potential will continue to be wasted. Better is due to Chloe BBY. Sophie Cunningham is worthy of more. Better is due to the fans. Above all, this team needs a coach who is proficient with the tools at her disposal. If you share our frustration with these coaching choices, please leave a comment below with what you believe should be changed. Is Bibby entitled to additional minutes? Is a coaching change in order? We would like to speak with Fever Nation. We'll continue to give you the actual scoop on what's going on with your Indiana Fever, so don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell. This is your one-stop shop for everything till the next time, regardless of who dislikes it. We call it as we see it in Fever basketball.